The nation of Sumeru is moments away from its impending destruction. How can I claim such nonsense even before the region's released? Well, because it literally happened in real life. There are many different inspirations that were used to create the region of Sumeru in Genshin Impact. Egypt, Persian Empire, India, Southeast Asia, Islamic Golden Age, Arabic, Sanskrit, Buddhism, Hinduism, my dog, your cat, a goldfish. But out of so many influences, the current story of Sumeru seems to follow a historic event of an ancient civilization of Sumer from thousands of years ago in Mesopotamia, which I believe will foreshadow the ultimate downfall of Sumeru. To fully understand why this is not a joke, let's dissect how Sumeru is a direct representation of the civilization of Sumer. History has no idea where the Sumerians came from, but the reason why they decided to settle in this area was because of the Tigris and Euphrates River. As rain fell on the mountaintops of Armenia to the north, the water would flow into the rivers, making their way through the barren lands. As a result, Mesopotamia was filled with particles from the mountain called substance silt, which is very interesting because they are also known as rock flowers. Rock possibly referring to the mountainscapes of Liwa to the north, and flour being used as a remedy for land's erosion. As for what the connections are, I'm sure we'll find out when Sumeru releases, but what's interesting is that these silts or rock flowers allow better circulation of air within the soil, which is extremely beneficial for plants to grow, and a blessing for agriculture, giving the Sumerians a chance to thrive under the harsh condition. Now, you may remember something very similar inside the game. Vahid and Inazuma suggest we purchase a substance called the Anahitian Blessing, which grants vitality to even the most barren lands, which are often used by many farmers. The connections continue on. Over the course of 6,000 years, the Sumerians formed their first educational schools, invents various tools, and the base 60 numbering system that we use today for time to figure out when the resins will be capped, and all these technological advancements and the thirst for intellect were made possible because of the rock flower within the soils of Mesopotamia. Obviously, this is symbolized in the game as academia of Sumeru that is under the overseeing eyes of Kusanali. There are so many more correlations that we can notice if we dig deeper, but that would literally take me several hours to explain. But in my personal opinion, it becomes quite clear that Sumer and Sumeru are connected without a shadow of a doubt. And if this is true, then Sumeru will be completely destroyed, because history tells us that this paradise that Sumerians once knew ultimately meets its end, falling victim to the cycle of life. Unironically, the beginning of the end for Sumer was signaled by a falling star in 2213 BC. Soon after, for reasons unknown, the ice caps of the North Atlantic goes through severe changes, affecting the climates of the entire world over hundreds of years. And because of this, the rainfalls on the mountaintops of Armenia becomes less frequent. This ends up turning Mesopotamia into an inhospitable place, and the slow decline of Sumer starts to settle in. Call me crazy, but am I supposed to assume that this has nothing to do with Genshin Impact? Travelers arriving in a falling star 500 years ago, followed by the death of the previous Dendro Archon and the downfall of Conria, which could have started the trigger for erosion. Maybe I'm crazy, but if the mountaintops of Armenia is in fact a reference to Liwei's mountainscapes, then things get even weirder if we dig a little deeper. Inside the Tewa travel guide, Alice questions why the mountains of Juyun Kars looks as if all the water's been drained out, adding that maybe these mountainscapes were once submerged underwater, and of course, Zhongli replies with his laughter and silence. But since Alice is likely over 500 years old, maybe the process of erosion already began after the conclusion of the Archon War rather than the cataclysm 500 years ago. Perhaps the arrival of the traveler, the downfall of Conria, and the death of God of Woods simply accelerated this erosion process. Whatever the case may be, the civilization of Sumer ultimately meets their end through the slow process of deterioration. The internal struggle for power, the continuation of inhospitality, and the invasion of nomadic tribes eventually causing their downfall. In the end, Sumerians are overthrown by a different civilization called the Elamites, leaving no one behind to worship their goddess of the moon. The beginning of the end, both originating from the course of nature, the continuous loop of the cycle of life leading to the civilization's birth and destruction. Kale having some kind of premonition about a burning sacred tree maybe also feels very suspicious, but since it's a fictional world, maybe the traveler will arrive to save the day once again. Or maybe the story will flip on its head since we're near the midpoint of the game. If you have any thoughts or opinion about what's gonna happen, let me know in the comments. But as I already mentioned, the civilization of Sumer was not the only inspiration that was used to create Sumeru. In the Buddhist and Hindu religion, the sacred mountain Meru seems to have a connection to the story when we talk about the gods. Not to mention the developers hinting that the elemental reaction catalyzed as a hidden meaning in the story is also suspicious. If you're interested in that rabbit hole, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more Sumeru related videos in the future. Thank you for watching. See you next time.